Scott Hahn offers a beautiful insight, which I'm sure comes from the treasures of the church, but he articulates it well regarding the road to Emmaus. He points out that Christ walks 7 miles with his uncle and someone who's unnamed. There are theories on that, who the unnamed person is, along with his uncle, I think Clovis. I don't know how to pronounce the uncle's name, but the name that's mentioned in that passage of sacred scripture also notes that there was another person who's not named. Scott Hahn presents the argument of St. Gregory the Great, and I also think St. Thomas Aquinas may have been the other person Scott Hahn noted, made this argument that it's St. Luke. But I find one of Scott Hahn's students, Tim Gray's argument for it being his wife, who was the Mary mentioned at the crucifixion. The Mary who is the mother of Christ's brothers, brethren, kin, also known as the other Mary, his aunt, who was married to his uncle, who was the younger brother of Saint Joseph, who, I wish I could pronounce his name with confidence, Clovis, his uncle, who was known in the memory of the church as being a great early leader, the father of Saint Simon, who was the second bishop of Jerusalem. So, it's not odd that after dying, being amongst the dead for 3 days in hell and rising, that he would have a 7-mile Bible study with his uncle, whom he loved, whom I imagine was by the side of his wife at the crucifixion, the younger brother of Saint Joseph, whom Christ loved, who Mary articulated that love, that admiration, that respect. In St. Luke's Gospel, when St. Luke noted that Joseph was a just man, a righteous man, you can hear the voice of Mary making that declaration as Luke recorded this account. There is a coherence and a continuity to think that those two people were husband and wife. The one who was not named in the account of the crucifixion is now named, and the one who was named in the account of the crucifixion is not named. And the consummation between Christ and the members of his bride, his body, his church. Share that unveiling that is spoken of in the book of the Apocalypse or the book of Revelation, depending upon which Bible you read. That last book of sacred scripture that's recorded as that wedding consummation between us and our bridegroom, the sacred Lamb. It is fitting that Christ would unveil himself to a married couple, to his uncle and his aunt, to that married couple who walked with him for 7 miles, going through the Bible study, and finally recognized him at the breaking of the bread, which is, by any serious, honest scholar, understood to be a reference of the Holy Eucharist. And you don't even need to be a scholar to understand that. Just read the Church Fathers. Read St. Justin Martyr. Read the Didache. Read their reference of the breaking of bread. And then understand that it is connected to the center of Christian worship from the beginning. The new covenant, the New Testament that Christ instituted at that Passover meal. Were there no sacred scripture, the New Testament would still exist in the Holy Eucharist. And those writings of the Church Fathers revealed to us that the Holy Catholic Apostolic Church that Christ established would still exist for our salvation, to reveal to us Christ. That revelation is revealed in the sacred scripture that the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church canonized. And before that canonization, it was revealed in the Holy Eucharist on the road to Emmaus, when that married couple finally arrived, that married couple whom Christ loved. After the liturgy of the Word, the proclamation of sacred scripture, came the liturgy of the bread. That sacrifice that was born in the house of bread in Bethlehem. We see, truly, we see the necessary elements for a holy sacrifice of the Mass. And there's no need to judge. Our preferences for this liturgy over that liturgy. We should be humbled by this road to Emmaus. At the breaking of the bread, Christ, the sacred Lamb, who promised that we must eat his body and blood. At the breaking of the bread, Christ, the sacred Lamb, is unveiled, is revealed to his family. And that's what happens with true Christian worship. We consume the New Testament. We consummate our marriage with the sacred Lamb. We become one body. One bread. This is the new covenant. This is the fulfillment of God's covenant that was lost when Adam and Eve ate from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Rather than turning to the tree of life to transcend the intimidation of that ancient serpent, they ate and broke, shattered the covenant between God and creation, between God and man. Now, the new Adam, the tree of life, gives us that bread which he promised would be truly his body and blood, gives us his incarnation, his resurrected body, so that when we consume the Holy Eucharist, we consume the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our resurrected Lord. When we see that, our eyes are opened to truly understand sacred scripture's fulfillment, to truly understand the fulfillment of God's covenant, and to truly taste the everlasting life of God. Receive the Holy Eucharist worthily. Be in union, full communion with Christ's church, with Christ's body. Consume the sacred Lamb. Fulfill the Exodus. Say yes. I do. Thy will be done. Be joined in union, in communion with the memorial sacrifice that Christ commanded you to partake in. Receive the divine plan for your salvation. Be a Catholic saint. Abide the fire.